Okay, good morning. Hello, good morning. Happy Wednesday. So I saw this on the Live Happy email that I got. And if you guys don't get the Live Happy emails, they're great in the morning to read your emails and come across some practicing of mindfulness and happiness and positive psychology and things like that. That Live Happy has a lot of great content. So I wanted to share this with you. Intention gives direction and meaning to actions large and small that we do throughout our day, imputing our lives with a greater sense of purpose. Be mindful of intention. Intention is the seed that creates our future. And I believe that wholeheartedly. Intentionality for everything that we do. And sometimes I think, we have trouble finding our intention. Sometimes we are a little bit stuck on our intention, but to remind ourselves of it and just practice it as best we can will help us get through that and get back on the path of intentionality. So just know that if you are plugging into this, or you're plugging into personal development, or you're plugging into something that keeps you intentional and consistent, that is just as good at the beginning to get yourself back in the right headspace, the right mindful place that you need to be to move forward. And so I went online, and I always like looking at people that are very, very successful and how they broadcast their success. And Tony Robbins is somebody who certainly has been around for a very long time, and he continues to be very current on his message. And these are some of his quotes that I think relate to what we do every day in business and life. And so I wanted to put them up there for you. You can decide on if this works for you or if you like it, but it is all about gratitude, and it's all about how we decide to spend our day and our mind and where our mind takes us. And the struggle is definitely real. Otherwise, there wouldn't be all of this content about reminding us about inspiration, about changing ourselves, about gratitude, about being grateful and working towards that. So it's basically practicing those types of messaging and broadcasting in your daily life. So this past weekend, we were in San Francisco. We had a wonderful time, as a lot of you have heard. We got to hear from Caroline and Janet yesterday about really, being good partners, workout partners in their business, in life. And one of the things we talked about at the regional that we did was mapping out our business. And a lot of times we get caught up in the management of our business, and especially people that have been in the business a little bit longer than the new people. We get kind of caught up in managing our system instead of really working our system. I'm guilty of it. I know a lot of people that I've worked with for a while in any business, we do get caught up in that. One of the things about, any kind of commission-based business, doesn't matter which it is, if you're building a team, whether it's insurance, mortgage lending, real estate, any kind of a corporate atmosphere where you're managing people or you're in charge of people's, production, we tend to focus in on other people's production rather than ourselves. And I'm speaking from the heart here. I'm speaking from myself. And so it's a good reminder to go back to how you got to where you got. And what you did when you did that, and how you can restart that engine or maybe re-inspire yourself. And then what you do sort of organically re-inspires what other people do. So I wanted to kind of map this out for you and remind you, a lot of you that were at the regional with us in San Francisco saw this slide that I created. And basically it was to kind of share the simplicity of our system with the incredible result that can happen. And this is not something that has to happen, in minutes or days or weeks. It's something that you can map out over time, depending upon how your life is and how you fit it into your life. But if you look at this, it's pretty incredible that the third promotion in Nerium is the Lexus Car Bonus. And how you get there, when you get there, is up to you. It's not up to me. It has nothing to do with me. But I do have a simple plan to map it out, which is not even my plan, it's Nerium's plan. So if you're willing to kind of follow that system and you're willing to follow that plan, you can absolutely get foundationally into the third promotion, which is our Lexus Car Bonus. And that's kind of a pivotal promotion because it's very quick in terms of any company that you go to. I always ask this and nobody raises their hand, but I always say, you know, at what point in your career that you've done, if you've done a career, or what job have you been in, at what point do you earn a car bonus? You know, I remember when I was in the entertainment industry, I worked for a big company, and in order to get a car bonus, you know, you had to be an executive earning, you know, $250,000 a year before the company was willing to pay for your car expenses, or get an expense report at all. So the fact that Nerium has a plan for you to get into this business and you get to decide when you want this car bonus, but it really is only the third promotion in this business, which means that what you're doing is you're doing basically, in my opinion, you know, 4 really easy steps and then repeating them over and over and over and over again. So those steps are build a list, and you're continually building that list, right? You're building the list all the time. And we were just talking about that. Randy was saying, you know, I've gone through a lot of people on my list. So now I've got to kind of start building a new list of new people and cultivating those relationships. And then you're going to sort a list. And then of course you're going to get out your calendar and build events, build into your life events, whether that's once a week, a couple days a week, or, you know, maybe once a month, whatever your schedule provides. You have to be realistic about where you're going. So if you want a car quickly, you're doing more events than just once a month. If you want a car in 12 months, and you're consistent and you decide, look, I have this goal for myself, long-term goal, but I'm going to be consistent in what I do in my events. I'm going to have an event once a month, no matter what. I'm going to talk to 2 people a day, no matter what. That consistency will eventually get you to where you want to go. The faster you want to go is up to you, as I said. And if you just look at the simplicity, build a list, sort a list, schedule your events, and start helping people and yourself becoming 3 or free, get to 9 as fast as you can. Don't stop. Go back to step 1 through 4. Don't stop. Build some brand partners. Don't stop. Step 1 through 6. Don't stop, and duplicate that into your team. This is our system of Nerium. There's no secret to it, okay? And I always thought there was, but there isn't. So building the foundation, we've talked a lot about it, and I only say this to you guys because it's practice, and it's how to keep your mindset where it needs to be. Where are you going to be able to build your business, make some money along the way, and help other people do the same thing? That's building your foundation. So the first 2 promotions in this company are customers and brand partners, and more customers and brand partners. So that's senior brand partner is 3 active brand partners at $1,500, which you can do with customers and brand partners. And the same thing with director. You can see here in this diagram, and if you're driving, you can go back and look at the replay, but you can map this out yourself. You can map it out on a whiteboard. You know who the players are in your life. I suggest you map it out because when I was starting my business, I looked at it every day. I still look at my business every day, but I specifically look at different people which I'm going to work with. I have a lot of different people on my team, so I'm trying to figure out who wants to play with me, who wants to work it out with me, who wants to go for the next. So if I find somebody who's a brand new brand partner and they say, well, I want to be a senior brand partner, will you help me? I'm all over that. Yeah. And there's lots of great things we can do to get you there. What's your schedule like? What do you want to do? So the plan is the plan. It's just who wants to play with the plan and how do they want to play with the plan. So building the foundation, I've always said, is customers and brand partners, but you really want a huge base of customers. And building those referrals, your past clients, your current clients, all of that matters, right? And all of that matters in just connecting. And we've talked a lot about what connecting is about. So this is what a senior director looks like. The most perfect way of getting there is to have a director in each leg. Then it's an automatic foundational. getting a director is foundationally having 3 brand partners and lots of customers, or having more brand partners with customers. So there's lots of different ways you can do it, but this is like the perfect picture. And I wanted to kind of show you that so you could map it out yourself. We went over building a list. Now, building this list is important because this is how you're going to sort your list. You can see here on our success planner, there's only 4 things that we really do. We do events like RRPs or market parties. We share the product, we share a video, and we sit down. That's really it, you guys. I mean, when you're thinking about a business, you couldn't be any simpler than that. Implementing that plan is the most important part, the implementation. And that's where a lot of us get stuck, or we can't repeat it, or we don't go back to it. But if we can get good at practicing building our list and then sorting and qualifying our list to where we want to take them, this, I will promise you, will be your success. So RRPs, market parties, those are the things that, you know, you can get a bigger group of people together, probably go a little bit faster if you want, because you are subjecting a bigger group to what you're doing. Sharing the products. We've got a lot of products now that you can share instantaneously to kind of get people looking at what you've got. Third-party tools, you know, definitely no shortage of videos and lots of great content that we have now in the back office, evergreen on that. Plus, of course, the best third-party tool is a 3-way call, which we're going to talk about in a second. And then following up, if you use your new Go Prospect, you will have a much easier time following up if you just get into it and kind of really work it out. Everything is always more difficult when you first try it, but as you start playing with it, if you have any time to do that, it'll get easier and easier to really utilize that. Setting up appointments, you know, if you're somebody that wants to more do sit downs and more do breakfasts and lunches like the way they were talking about on the corporate call yesterday, you know, here's the thing about breakfast and lunch and learns and things like that. This is the way people do business, and they've been doing business this way for decades. I mean, I've been doing lunch and learns and breakfast meetings in my business with my talent agency, in the real estate industry. This is the way people in business do business, and it's a very expected and respected way to do business. So if you have extra free time and you're not at a job every day from 9 to 5 or whatever, and there are people that have the ability to meet you for breakfast before they go to work, or a cup of coffee after work, or a glass of wine, whatever it is, or you can come in to a company and actually do a little lunch and learn on your products. You know, why not? Why not meet up with HR people or people that you know are with companies and say, hey, I'd love to come in and share a lunch and learn or meet you guys off site. There's lots of things you can do. Setting up the appointment usually, you know, I think is always more powerful when you're talking about why you're doing something rather than what you're doing. And so that's a really good tip in terms of setting it up and making it happen. We talked the other day about scheduling out our calendar for everything we do. You know, planning our day before our day begins, our week, our month, our year. We've talked in the past about even setting up our referral sources over the course of a year. You know, who are our ambassadors who want to refer us business? Who are the people in our life that we want to connect with at least once a month? And really building that into our calendar. And, you know, look, it takes some planning. It definitely does. But, you know, it's interesting when you look at your calendar and and people say to you, well, what are you up to next week? And you look at your calendar and you're like, wow, I'm busy. I got stuff going on. You know, I'm meeting with people. And even if it's just to have just a casual lunch with a friend, which is what I'm doing today, it's part of building your life and your business and your connections. Because even though I am not spending my time at lunch today talking about Nerium and my business, I'm talking about catching up with my friend. Who knows where that conversation is going to lead? And it may lead to somebody that I don't know that might be interested in the products. Who knows? I don't know, but I'm going in there to have a good time and to see my friend. But as I said, my calendar, I keep building my calendar to help me to connect with people. As I said, the products to sample are simple. Of course, you know that I take all of these products. They're in my bag all the time. So just in case I can share something with somebody, I have free samples to give away at all times. And I'm excited to always do that. And it's an easier way now to get an awesome result very quickly. Okay, so the 3-way call. I do three-way calls every day for people, and I try to do some for myself. It's interesting, my biggest goal right now is for my own personal three-way calls, because I've gotten to the point where I don't seem to be doing them as much as I should. And, I will say that three-way calls are 100%. Yesterday I was talking to a woman in Maui, and she was trying the product, and she was talking a lot about, Maui and everything. And she was really high energy. She's using the products. And she was really kind of commanding the conversation, and it was great. And I was listening to her, and I just asked her one question. I just said, and I didn't even share my story. I just asked her, did you take a before picture? And she said, no, I didn't. And I said, well, I think it would be a great idea, since you're liking the product so much, to just take a before picture, so that you have that picture that you can, not only show yourself, but you can show your friends, because she's thinking about the business. And so I really felt like that three-way call was incredibly successful and 100%, because I took her from not taking a picture to understanding why it was important to take a picture. And so you may think, well, you didn't tell your story. You didn't talk to her about the business. You didn't talk to her about becoming, involved. But, it starts with the very smallest of things. I would like her to take her picture, so that if she does decide to do the business, that she will understand the importance of taking that picture. And if she can do that, she can definitely go to the next step of this business, or of just becoming a customer. So you want to take people to the next step and just be very happy and grateful for that. You want to take people from not knowing to knowing. You want to help them help invite to an invite to an invite. You're always inviting people to something. And if they can't make it, last night we did a kind of a welcome back to the neighborhood party. And, I went over to my friend's house, and we had some discussion. We got to catch up. I don't get to see her all the time. She works a lot, and she was having some friends over, and none of her friends showed up last night. It was a very casual party. It wasn't that they didn't show up for her. It's that it was, obviously a Tuesday night. And I asked her, I said, how did you invite people? Did you call them directly? Did you speak to them on the phone? And she said, no, I texted them or emailed them or whatever. And I said, well, maybe next time what we should do is we should just get together and make phone calls. So we're actually talking to people. So what came out of that last night was a lot of really good information on inviting. And the next party that we have, we're going to be more mindful about talking to people directly. And so, sharing the product, sharing a story, and being the expert is really what is more powerful in the three-way call. And then, of course, if you use Go Prospect, if you start learning how to use this on your phone and on your computer, it will track your two-a-day for you, and it'll track your follow-up. There's a to-do column over here where if you put in information, it will automatically put in information for you as well. But it comes up on your phone, your to-do list. So if you're driving, you could get a text from Go Prospect just saying, to do. It might happen for you in the morning, where it just reminds you of what you need to do. And I think those types of systems are important for all of us, because we're all working really hard in our life to just, do life. And so anything that can help us is really, really important. So I know I went through that pretty quickly, but what I wanted to get most out of there is that we remind ourselves what it is that we're trying to do at Nerium. We're really trying to take people from brand partner to senior brand partner in the simplest of ways, which we can do foundationally. Then we're trying to help them get to director. And then if they're interested, we want to get them to the car. And then we want to take their people and do the same thing. And this is something that I learned very early on in business, is that, duplication in your business, if you can help people to duplicate a simple system, it's done in every single business that you're in. Believe me when I tell you, if you walk into the Apple store, everybody at the Apple store has their position. They know exactly what they're supposed to do. I walked in there the other day and I said, I need some help with my cloud. And the guy at the front said, oh, well, let me get so-and-so for you. Or you need to go over to the Genius desk. Have you made an appointment? In other words, he wouldn't help me, but he knew exactly how to help me. He couldn't help me right then and there, because his point of what he was supposed to do was greet people and find out what they needed to do. So there was a huge system involved in walking to an Apple store and don't think that they don't go through tremendous training to make sure that they know exactly what their position is there and how to take people to the next step when you walk into the Apple store. It's a very, very fine, constructed place, and nobody deviates, because I really wanted him to help me. I was like, well, can't you just help me and answer some questions? He goes, no. He goes, I'm going to send you to the right person. And I know you've probably all sort of had that experience at Apple, but if you can think about that and think about the system that you have in Nerium, the reality is if you don't really deviate too much from the system and you just kind of follow the simple mechanics of it, you can duplicate this process, but you have to have the will to do it. The most success that I had in Nerium, and that I continue to strive to do every day, and believe me, my mindset gets whacked out, things enter into my life, there's all sorts of things, I have it too, just like all of you, that's why we get together every day, is if we can be a little bit more consistent in our system and make sure that we understand what's important. So one last quick story, all the seminars I ever went to in the real estate industry with Robert was always about what is your A activity, what's the most important thing you should be doing. And really it was put down your A activity, your B activity, and your C activity. And then the funny part was, okay, you deal with the A activity and give your B and C activity to somebody else. And it was very early on where we learned if you don't have an assistant, you are an assistant. And so in business, if you don't have a system of time management, then you are time managing yourself all the time. And if you don't have a system of business, then you're trying to create a system all the time. And if you don't have a system of how you're going to be the most productive in your business and really concentrate on your A activity, then you're always going to be concentrating on your B and C activity, and your A activity isn't going to get you where you need to go because you're not concentrating there. A activity for people in this business or people in any kind of sales business where they're building team and they're building customers and they're trying to earn commission, A activities is always about prospecting and new business. It's universal. There's no business in this type of business that is about your B and C activities. And so if you can get around to your B and C activities, or you can have somebody help you with those, that's great. But the A activity is the A activity. So when people say, well, I just got started, I'm going to go into new brand partner training, I'm going to spend a week there, and then after I do new brand partner training, I'm going to put in all my contacts into the back office, and then after I do put everything in the office, I'm going to watch 200 videos and really get to be an expert in this business. I guarantee you those are B and C activities that are not going to earn you any money. So when I talk to people about getting started, it's not that I'm not talking about the system of Nerium. I'm saying, hey, the first thing we do is our list. The second thing we do is we sort our list. And the third thing we do is we build our calendar. Period, the end. That's the A activity. That's what we do. We're constantly building our list. We're constantly sorting our list. We're constantly inviting people to events and scheduling events. And that's really what we do. If there's time for other things, to learn this or that, I guarantee you one thing. If you're doing all three of those things, you're learning as you're earning money, and there's a billion people around you that are going to help you with every single question that you have. And so as a leader, as a mastermind, one of the things you might want to do is take that philosophy to your team and have them duplicate and replicate that in a simple way. If you want these slides, you just need to email me and you can do these slides for your team. If you want to take the video, the replay, it'll be on the page if this was helpful to you. But I guarantee you this in business, A activity is what's going to earn you a living. It's going to help you build your team. It's going to help you solidify your team. It's going to build foundationally. And all the other noise and all the other stuff is great. It's wonderful to have that kind of stuff. But the reality is the only thing that makes you money is building your list, sorting your list, building your calendar, and building your team and customers. Period, the end. That's it. It's pretty simple. So anyway, I know I went a little long today. If anyone has any questions, I'm opening it up now. And okay, Sean wants to get those slides. Great. Just messenger me on Facebook and I'll send them to you. Anybody else, just let me know on Messenger and I can send them to you, okay? Anybody have any questions or comments?
Hey, Annie, it's Janet.
Hey, Janet.
Hey, so a great Zoom. Love it as always. And I just want to also encourage activity, you guys, is sometimes getting in touch with people, because I've been in the business a while now, and so there are certain maybe brand partners on my team that haven't been engaged. So what I've done is I'm reaching out to people always, and I was able to have lunch with someone yesterday who's super excited and letting me know, and she's been in the business before too, and she's re-engaging, and she knows people in Germany. So she's like, I really didn't even realize that, Germany and Austria was opening. So, it's just always reaching out and connecting, and knowing that, keep building our list, like Annie said, you guys, and just, I really want to encourage people that are running for senior brand partner, like Kathy Aaron was saying on Nerium U this past Monday. That is the most important position to get in this company, because it's the foundation of the comp plan. As soon as if we are just a senior brand partner making machine, that's the key to the comp plan, and that's the key to this business, and that's the key to making money and getting the activity in gear. So I love this Zoom, and it was awesome. And Annie, thank you so much for your passion. It came through so loud and clear this morning, more than usual for me anyway. But you guys have a really awesome day.
Oh, well, Janet, I so appreciate you putting that message in there, and I am so excited. One thing you guys need to know, and I don't say this often enough, I happen to know, Janet's story really, really well, and I've kind of lived it with her. And Janet did a great Zoom for us maybe a month ago on resilience. And, when you think about how your business may have, in some ways may have stalled out a little bit, or people in your business aren't doing what you want them to do, or people are, maybe kind of like disenchanted and they're just not feeling it anymore, or life gets in the way and life struggles get in the way, and you're not in the position to build your business the way you used to. Somehow or another, if you stick it out and you stay it out, your business stays there and you can come back to it. And that's kind of the situation that Janet had in her lunch yesterday with this person, but she also had it in her own life. And so, and Nerium was here for her when she got back, and she was able to reignite herself and her team and get new team members. So very inspiring. I love that, and I really, really appreciate your input. Anybody else want to share anything? Okie dokie. Well, I just want you guys to know I appreciate you coming in today, and I will see you guys tomorrow.
Thank you, Annie.
Thank you, Annie.